When you have been lied about for a series of years, imagine that for over a period of months and years, and you know that it isn't true. Did you make Kate cry?
No, the reverse happened. Kate was called Waity Katie, waiting to marry William.
Oprah Winfrey says she feels partly responsible for what she calls the nation she did on her TV show. And one of her biggest regrets, she says.
Oprah Winfrey, the queen of talk shows, shocked the world when she stepped onto a live stage and dropped a bombshell apology directed straight at Catherine, the Princess of Wales. It wasn't polished or staged. It was raw, emotional, and dripping with regret. The apology peeled back years of rumors, lies, and messy narratives that had been simmering since that notorious sit-down interview. And in that moment, Meghan Markle's carefully polished story started to crack wide open, leaving her in the spotlight for all the wrong reasons. The question on everyone's lips: what really happened during that live broadcast? And why did it send shockwaves from Buckingham Palace to Hollywood? People couldn't believe what they were watching because this wasn't Oprah the power player. This was Oprah the human being, laying it all out. It all kicked off with whispers swirling in media circles. Insiders revealed Oprah had been quietly reflecting on her 2021 interview with Harry and Meghan. You know, that chat that detonated across the globe? Back then, Meghan claimed shocking things. From talk of skin color concerns to stories of family feuds that painted the royals as cold and heartless. But fast forward to 2025, and suddenly the tables were turning. Sources close to Oprah confessed she wasn't happy with how everything spiraled out of control. She told trusted friends she never wanted her name tied to something that divided the world and wounded an entire family. In fact, during chats with her close friend Gayle King, Oprah admitted she didn't intend to drop bombs at all. She insisted it was meant to be a conversation, yet it exploded into a cultural earthquake. And the one person most crushed in the aftermath? Catherine, Princess of Wales. And lately, eagle-eyed viewers spotted Oprah pulling back, keeping her distance from the drama that once made her headlines. Rumors exploded that Oprah had been quietly beating herself up for years over not pushing back harder during Meghan's big tell-all. She let claims slip through unchecked, stories that were shaky at best. Take the infamous bridesmaid dress drama. Meghan insisted Catherine made her cry before the royal wedding. But later, explosive book revelations exposed the truth. Both women were in tears. Suddenly, Meghan's version didn't hold as much weight, and critics wondered why Oprah hadn't pressed harder back then. And this is where Oprah's legacy came into play. Known worldwide for her integrity and ability to cut through lies, she felt the weight of letting questionable stories go unchallenged. The guilt sat heavy. So when the live broadcast rolled around, insiders say she saw it as her one shot at setting the record straight. No editing, no spin, just raw honesty. Teasers promised royal revelations, and the hype was off the charts. People expected messy drama, but what they got instead was something no one predicted: redemption. Meanwhile, the royal family had been walking through fire since Harry and Meghan's dramatic exit. Catherine, in particular, became a global symbol of grace under relentless pressure. She endured health scares, family stress, and vicious tabloid headlines. Yet she never cracked, never clapped back, never threw shade. She simply carried herself with quiet strength. And Oprah noticed. Insiders whispered that Oprah's change of heart was directly tied to her deep respect for how Catherine endured everything, from her public cancer battle to her endless duties, without ever turning bitter. That admiration lit a fire in Oprah. The live stage became her chance to honor Catherine's resilience. The moment the lights dimmed, the tension in the room was so thick you could feel it in your chest. Oprah walked out, poised as ever, but her eyes betrayed something rare: vulnerability. She wasn't just talking, she was confessing. "I have been thinking a lot about that interview," she began, her voice steady but shaking at the edges. "The one with Harry and Meghan. It was meant to give them a voice, but looking back, I see how it hurt others, especially Catherine." The crowd gasped. Oprah admitted she regretted not questioning murky claims, like the alleged wedding feud. The clash of stories reached its peak when Oprah locked eyes with the camera and dropped the words no one expected. "Catherine, I am sorry. The audience froze. Millions at home leaned in closer. Oprah didn't dodge, didn't soften. She said it straight. You have shown such class and strength. You deserve better than the pain that interview caused. It was live. It was raw. It was history in the making. What gave the moment even more weight was that Oprah didn't just toss out an apology and move on. She doubled down, lifting Catherine up in front of the world. She praised her not only as a mother and wife, but as a future queen. A woman who has poured her soul into causes like early childhood development, mental health awareness, and family support. Oprah spotlighted Catherine's quiet but unshakable dedication, reminding viewers that this is someone who carries duty, dignity, and compassion all at once. And then came the sting. Without ever mentioning Meghan by name, Oprah's praise cast a sharp shadow. The contrast was undeniable. Meghan's old claims painted the royals as cold, uncaring, and cruel. Yet Catherine's reality, visible for years and reinforced by countless reports and even palace sources, told a different story. The cracks in Meghan's narrative were suddenly glaring. Those tales of being silenced and mistreated no longer stood unchallenged. But Oprah didn't stop there. She widened the lens, sending a message to the entire British royal family. She spoke of their tradition, their service, their role as anchors in a chaotic world. It wasn't just an apology, it was a salute. The highest kind of respect given on one of the biggest stages on Earth. And the reaction? Instant chaos online. Social media exploded with praise for Oprah's bravery. One viral tweet summed it up perfectly. The moment truth triumphed over tabloid tales. Royal watchers were celebrating like it was a victory parade, finally seeing Catherine raised up as the ultimate symbol of poise and dignity. But for Meghan, this was a brutal blow. Insiders whispered she was stunned in California, blindsided by the fact that Oprah, the very woman who once gave her the biggest stage in the world, was now peeling back the gloss on her story. So what exactly did Oprah's words expose? Let's break it down. Meghan's original interview was full of emotional claims, but cracks in the narrative have been widening for years. Take the infamous bridesmaid incident. Meghan told Oprah that Catherine reduced her to tears over flower girl dresses, but palace aides and multiple accounts later revealed the truth. Both women ended up crying. Yes, it was heated. But Catherine wasn't the cold-hearted villain Meghan had painted her as. Oprah herself admitted during the live apology that she regretted not pressing harder for details. Looking back, it seemed obvious Meghan's version was shaped to gain sympathy. One-sided, selective, and dramatic. And then came the biggest bombshell of all, the skin color comment. Meghan framed it as ongoing concerns from within the family, implying systemic prejudice. But later, Harry walked it back, clarifying it was a single remark, not some sinister campaign. And not from the senior royals Meghan's words had led the world to suspect. Oprah openly said she never expected that claim to explode into the global scandal it became. On stage, she admitted she regretted amplifying pain without context. Pain that ended up smearing the entire royal family in ways that weren't fair. That confession alone flipped the spotlight, leaving Meghan exposed as someone who may have twisted facts just enough to spark outrage. Through it all, Oprah highlighted Catherine's quiet resilience. She pointed to Catherine's decision to never fire back publicly, instead pouring her energy into projects like the Shaping Us campaign. While Catherine carried herself with quiet strength, insiders revealed that Oprah's own team had been digging back into the archives, rewatching old footage, scrutinizing details. And the more they saw, the more uneasy Oprah became. Inconsistencies leapt out, and it was clear she couldn't stay silent any longer. That live apology wasn't just words. It was a turning point, a line drawn in the sand, exposing the half-truths and exaggerations that had lingered far too long. From the moment Catherine stepped into royal life as Kate Middleton to her rise as Princess of Wales, she's been the monarchy's anchor. Challenges, scandals, even personal battles never broke her elegance. And Oprah made sure to spotlight that. She praised Catherine as the future queen who leads by example. Oprah reminded viewers of the moments that proved it, like showing up to Trooping the Color, smiling through her own cancer treatment, standing tall for the family even when her world was shaken. That strength moved Oprah to tears, she admitted, because Catherine's instinct was always to protect her children and guard her family's privacy, processing heartbreak quietly behind closed doors. And Oprah didn't stop there. She peeled back the curtain on Catherine's parenting, showing how she keeps George, Charlotte, and Louis grounded with school runs, family trips, and simple joys. That relatability is what royal watchers adore because it makes Catherine feel real, human, and approachable. When compared side by side, Meghan's old claims of feeling trapped and isolated suddenly felt hollow. Catherine was living proof that balance and normalcy inside the monarchy were possible. Then came Oprah's most emotional moment. Her voice cracked as she turned to the camera. "Catherine, you represent hope and resilience." The audience erupted, some in tears, others in stunned silence. It was more than an apology. It was a tribute. Catherine wasn't just a princess. She was a mother, a leader, and a woman admired across the globe. Fans swarmed social media, calling the moment long overdue validation. And Oprah's apology stretched far beyond Catherine herself. It wrapped around the entire royal family, a public salute to their centuries-old legacy of service and survival through every storm. Oprah's voice carried pure admiration as she expanded her praise beyond Catherine, spotlighting King Charles's lifelong fight for the environment and Prince William's bold push to tackle homelessness. She reminded viewers that these weren't cold, distant figureheads as Meghan once implied. These were people who had dedicated their lives to service, putting in the work when the cameras weren't always rolling. And in doing so, Oprah deliberately shattered Meghan's old 2021 narrative, where the royal family was painted as rigid, unfeeling, and shut off from the world. For the first time, Oprah admitted the painful truth. She regretted contributing to that skewed image. She confessed that her interview had amplified a one-sided story, leaving out the royals' decades of real contributions. That night on stage, she set the record straight. Oprah reframed them not as villains, but as a stabilizing force in a chaotic age, leaders carrying burdens bigger than most of us could imagine. At the heart of it all, Catherine was placed firmly in the spotlight. Oprah called her the glue that holds it all together, the steady force keeping William grounded, and the monarchy's future intact. And this wasn't hollow flattery. She backed it with examples. Catherine's calm presence at state banquets, her natural warmth during charity visits, and the way she stood poised by William's side at high-stakes diplomatic events. These weren't just photo ops. They were proof of a partnership built on trust and shared values. That spotlight drew a sharp contrast once again with Meghan's tale of a suffocating institution. Catherine wasn't suffocated, she was thriving. She was balancing public duty with private family life, weaving tradition with modernity in ways the world could see. And viewers got the message loud and clear. Meghan's story didn't add up when stacked against Catherine's lived reality. Oprah's apology widened, touching the entire royal fold. She praised King Charles for championing sustainability long before it was popular, and she gave flowers to Princess Anne, hailed as the hardest-working royal, and to Prince Edward, quietly committed to the arts. Oprah's words painted a brand new picture of the monarchy, not fractured, not hostile, but united in purpose. And that's exactly why they landed so hard. Coming from Oprah, a woman who once gave airtime to the damaging 2021 interview, her course correction carried immense weight. It wasn't just an apology. It was a public acknowledgement that the royal family's service and sacrifice deserved far more respect than what Meghan's narrative had implied. The moment hit differently because it underscored how, despite years of turmoil, the royals had learned to close ranks. Since Harry and Meghan's dramatic exit, the family leaned back on their strengths: duty, discretion, and relentless dedication. And right in the center of it all, Catherine. Her calm, composed presence through every storm, whether her own health struggles or messy family controversies, set the tone for the institution. She became the example of quiet resilience. Royal watchers online erupted with relief, hailing Oprah's tribute as overdue validation. One fan wrote, "Finally, someone sees the royals for who they are, not the drama. Others praised Catherine as the very definition of grace, contrasting sharply with Meghan's constant complaints. The shift in tone wasn't just noticeable, it was devastating to Meghan's version of events. Oprah's declaration left no doubt. The monarchy, with Catherine at its heart, symbolized something timeless, steady, and unshakable. And for Meghan Markle, watching from California, it must have felt like the floor dropped out from beneath her. The carefully constructed narrative she had sold to millions in 2021 was dismantled in real time, its cracks now glaring under the global spotlight. Social media caught fire instantly. Hashtags demanding Meghan speak up trended across X. One viral tweet thundered, "Until she says sorry to Kate, Meghan stays in the wrong." Another declared, "Meghan's stories just unraveled on live TV. Oprah proved who the real class act is." The backlash was swift and brutal. Meghan's credibility took a massive hit as the public piled on with zero mercy. Reports claimed she was blindsided in real time, watching the broadcast from her Montecito mansion. Page 6 insiders whispered that Meghan felt humiliated, while her team scrambled behind the scenes to cook up a response. But here's the problem. There was no easy escape. Oprah's apology didn't just smooth things over, it spotlighted specific inconsistencies Meghan could no longer ignore. The bridesmaid dress saga? Oprah basically blew it apart. Meghan claimed she was left in tears, but Harry's own memoir and palace insiders painted a different story. Both women cried, and Catherine even tried to patch things up. That moment shifted everything. It wasn't just a correction, it was a reckoning for Meghan's selective storytelling. To make matters worse, Meghan had just relaunched her social media in 2025, posting glossy lifestyle updates to rebuild her brand. But the timing couldn't have been worse. While Oprah was pouring raw honesty into a live apology, Meghan was posting curated Instagram reels about jam jars and wellness routines. The clash was painful, and fans noticed. Comment sections turned savage. One top comment sneered, "You can't post about jam when the world's watching your lies unravel." Polls reflected the mood shift. A YouGov survey showed 68% of people praising Catherine's dignity, while just 22% sided with Meghan's narrative. The numbers didn't lie. Sympathy had swung dramatically in Catherine's favor. Meanwhile, Meghan's silence only deepened the damage. Books like Spare and Insider Leaks added more cracks, revealing the infamous skin color comment was not the ongoing racist campaign Meghan implied, but a single remark later clarified by Harry himself. Behind closed doors, Harry reportedly admitted to friends that the interview had gone too far, yet Meghan refused to acknowledge Oprah's mea culpa, leaving her looking not just defiant, but isolated. And the optics? Devastating. Even Oprah, once her biggest ally, had distanced herself. Meghan's embarrassment had become a global spectacle, her carefully crafted moves now exposed as calculations that backfired in spectacular fashion. Oprah's apology wasn't just a personal turning point. It was a seismic shift in the royal saga, a milestone that now echoes with the same solemn weight as Catherine's poise during Queen Elizabeth II's funeral. That day, Catherine stood tall, every inch the future queen, her poise radiating a strength that seemed to carry centuries of history on her shoulders. Oprah's words echoed through the broadcast, predicting that Catherine's reign would redefine the monarchy with compassion and resilience. She spotlighted Catherine's influence behind the scenes, from pushing early childhood initiatives to championing mental health, proving that Catherine wasn't waiting for a crown. She was already shaping the future of the throne. For the monarchy, it felt like a turning point. Public perception shifted in real time, aligning the family once again with values of duty, unity, and service. But for Meghan, Oprah's apology landed like a thunderclap. Insiders whispered she was reeling in Montecito, blindsided as her carefully polished image began to crumble. Each inconsistency exposed, from the bridesmaid dress tears to the infamous skin color claim, painted Meghan less as a truth-teller and more as someone who crafted narratives for sympathy. Reports suggest Harry has been wrestling with regret, confiding to friends that the 2021 interview had gone too far and only widened the family rift. Yet Meghan remains defiant, her pride standing as a wall between her and any chance of reconciliation. And that's where the drama deepens. Whispers say Harry might push for private talks with his brother and Catherine. Some believe Catherine's forgiveness could heal wounds, but only if Meghan is willing to step back from her refusal to admit fault. Meanwhile, Catherine's star continues to soar. Oprah's tribute framed her as the ultimate bridge between tradition and modernity. A royal mother balancing school runs with state duties, carrying the crown's weight while keeping her children grounded. Her Shaping Us campaign, rooted in science and empathy, has already become a global conversation starter on childhood development. Fans on social media are calling her not just a princess, but a queen in waiting, a beacon of hope, admired for her quiet strength and her refusal to play into the chaos. Posts flooded timelines with captions like, "This is the queen we need." This moment didn't just elevate Catherine as a royal. It crowned her as a global figure of integrity. Oprah's words reframed the monarchy's image in one stroke, pushing back against years of negative headlines. King Charles's decades-long crusade for the environment and Prince William's fearless work on homelessness now stood taller than ever, strengthened by Catherine's shining presence. Together, they projected unity, a monarchy ready to evolve while fiercely holding on to its roots. But for Meghan, the path forward looks far more uncertain. Every move she makes from here, whether she doubles down on her defiance or finally seeks redemption, will shape her legacy forever. The apology reset the narrative, centering truth, service, and dignity. And in doing so, it exposed the cracks in Meghan's carefully constructed image for the world to see. Oprah's live broadcast wasn't just a correction, it was a cultural earthquake. A bold reclamation of truth that spotlighted Catherine's unshakable strength while dismantling the myths that once drove global headlines. Catherine emerged as more than a princess. She became the symbol of resilience, duty, and grace that millions now see as the monarchy's future. Her quiet perseverance through storms, from personal health struggles to relentless tabloid pressure, only amplified her authenticity. And Oprah's tribute gave voice to what royal watchers had always known. Catherine's greatest power is that she doesn't perform strength, she lives it. That authenticity has made her universally respected, even adored. Meanwhile, Meghan's unraveling was impossible to ignore. Her credibility cracked in real time, leaving her isolated while the world rallied around Catherine. Social media turned into a digital courtroom. Hashtags like Meghan's lies caught up with her trended worldwide as fans praised Oprah's courage and critics demanded Meghan finally face the truth. Insiders say Meghan is still grappling with the humiliation, her silence louder than any statement she could make. For some, that silence speaks volumes. Yet, even in the fallout, this moment opens a door. Will Meghan ever reflect, seek reconciliation, and repair what's been broken? Or will pride keep her locked in California, distant and defiant? The contrast couldn't be sharper. Catherine has never thrown public shade. She's let her steady service do the talking, and in the end, that quiet integrity has become her ultimate weapon. Looking forward, Oprah's apology doesn't just clear the air. It redefines the royal narrative itself. It strengthens the monarchy's image as a force for good, with Catherine and William standing at its center. Oprah's tribute tied their future to Charles's decades of environmental advocacy, Princess Anne's relentless work ethic, and Catherine's own focus on family and early childhood. Together, it was a reminder that this institution, centuries old, still commands relevance today. For Catherine, this was more than validation. It was a coronation of character, a turning point that cements her as the leader who can bridge tradition with modern values. Her path to the throne now shines brighter than ever, with the promise of a reign marked by compassion, duty, and unshakable strength. The world is left wondering, what's next? Will Meghan finally answer the apology heard around the globe, or will the divide only grow wider? And how will Catherine continue shaping the monarchy's future in her own image? What do you think? Did Oprah's apology hit the mark, or did it go too far? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We want to hear your take. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more royal deep dives.